Welcome to the dark side of podcasting.
Welcome to Creepy Tapas,
where we do the opposite of deep dives and bring you tiny tastes of terror connected by a common ingredient.
True stories to haunt and chill you and the pop culture they inspired.
Or at least the movies and books that remind us of them.
Join us as we descend into darkness,
beginning with the lighter side of our weekly topic,
and wrapping with a full dark, no stars account of terror, madness, murder, and more. It's Creepy Tapas, y'all.
Every year on February 14th, the world celebrates Valentine's Day. It's a time to celebrate love and romance. But the origins of this festival of candy and cupids is actually pretty dark and bloody. Animal sacrifices, random coupling, and the whipping of women. Not quite the lovey-dovey day that we celebrate now. What truths lie beyond the imagination in a world where reality is often more horrid than fiction? Come along, ghoul fiends, as we descend into darkness on today's episode of Creepy Tapas! Greetings, ghoul fiends. 'Tis I, Ash.
And I'm Jordan.
And we're here to talk about Valentines. It's Valentine's. It's the time to tell somebody you love them, even if you don't. Maybe you'll get chocolate. Maybe you'll get wine. Maybe you will go out and have a good time.
Yep. Valentine's.
Woo! Valentine's Day. What do you do for Valentine's Day? Do you celebrate it even?
No, not really. Our anniversary is so close to it that we just ignore one for the other.
It's kind of like having a birthday close to Christmas.
Yeah, kind of.
Everything's lumped in together.
I've never been big on Valentine's Day, though. It just seemed extra.
Me neither. It felt more dire when I was a kid. Like whenever I watch Bob's Burgers episodes, I'm like, I feel that. I remember the urgency of having
like
someone
Tina.
to kiss. Yeah. It's a big fucking deal, you know. TJ and I aren't massive Valentine's people, but he always gets me chocolate. I feel like any excuse to get me chocolate, he always does, which I'm not complaining. I always appreciate it.
Right.
So I'm sure most people believe that Valentine's Day has its roots in the Christian faith, considering the day is seemingly named after Saint Valentine. Saint Valentine was a priest who lived during the 3rd century, and we'll get into him a little bit more later on. Many historians believe that the day originated from the Roman pagan festival of fertility called Lupercalia. This was a major festival on the Roman calendar and was commemorated every year on February 13th through the 15th. It was held in honor of Faunus and Lupercus, the gods of agriculture and fertility. Make it fertile. Spread that shit on him. I wonder if at any point in time they spread fertilizer on a woman, like, be fertile.
God, I would hope not. That would be nasty.
That would suck. In the morning, the priests of Lupercus, known as Luperci, gathered at the Lupercal Cave, which lay at the foot of the Palatine Hill. In a ceremony for fertility, and because Lupercus was a god of shepherds, 2 male goats would be sacrificed in the cave. Why do they have to die? Why was everyone all, like, sacrificial back then?
Because the gods need sacrifices.
Well, they just don't really seem like very nice fellows to me. They're constantly asking for people to go and murder things.
I mean, I don't know that they're actually asking for it. I think people just decide that's the thing they should be doing.
Well,
here, have this goat.
It seems to me that this god fellow should have come down and put a stop to that.
Well, see, that's the thing about imaginary friends, pal.
I watched Drop Dead Fred. I know this fucking game. This was followed by the sacrifice of a dog to represent purification because dogs often guard the flocks. And I'm fully not okay with any of it, especially not the dogs. I feel like I need to go do some John Wick shit and go back in time and be like, I'm going to fuck you up for fucking those dogs up. Them puppies were sweet. They didn't do nothing.
Well, you don't know. They might have been fighting dogs.
They were not fighting dogs. They were sweet babies.
It might have been before they were fully domesticated. Just a bunch of wild dogs. It probably wasn't, though.
They were probably just like little buddies. Well, blood from the sacrificial knife was then smeared across the foreheads of 2 naked Luperci. They were like, "Can you do me one like a clown? I want to look like a fox. Can you paint red ears on my forehead?"
No.
Little whiskers. That'd be fun.
With the blood.
Yeah, yeah. So after the blood face paint party, the knife was wiped clean with a piece of milk-soaked wool, which was meant to signify new life. And historians have suggested this ritual is why Valentine's Day is associated with the colors red and white. Red represents the blood from the sacrifice, which sounds like a Valentine's Day poem. Like roses are red like the blood of the sacrifice. Violets are blue like your bruises.
Anybody got any blood?
Hey man, you got some blood? White represents the milk on the wool that wipes the knife clean. Think about that the next time you decorate for Valentine's Day and you're like little red hearts and in white. That's blood and milk, bitch. Blood and milk.
Well, smear your walls with blood and milk.
Blood and honey.
It's coming soon.
So a huge feast followed this ritual. And after everyone was thoroughly stuffed, the Luperci cut strips of skin from the sacrificed goats called thongs and dipped them in sacrificial blood. I mean, that's where the underwear comes from, I bet. That thong, the thong, thong, thong. Hit you with my bloody goat. Baby, pop your booty. Oh. The strips of skin were dipped in sacrificial blood. And here comes the fun part. They then ran naked through the streets of Rome and whipped any woman within striking distance. Any woman, just,
with bloody skin strips.
Give her a quick whoosh.
Just a quick whack.
She'll love it.
Fine. Yeah, well, they did, I think.
I mean, shit, pre-feminism was hard. I am having difficulty conceiving. What can I do? Well, you can stand here and let us beat you with this bloody goat flesh. That'll help.
That'll help. That'll fix all
Yeah.
your problems.
They will all magically go away. You will become blessed with child. So full dong out. Just give her the slap with some bloody goat skin.
I mean, it's about fertility.
It sounds awful.
It does sound awful.
Many welcomed these lashings and often revealed bare skin for striking. So, they'd help them get some good aim, take off some clothes, be like,
Hey, wipe me right here.
this is where I like it. Right here on my side. The Romans believed that these beatings would make childless women more fertile while also blessing pregnant women with an easy birth. This is for your own good. Whoosh, whoosh.
It was for their own good.
Damn it. Happy Valentine's Day. Another custom during Lupercalia was the pairing of young Roman boys and girls. At some point during the festival, the names of young girls were written on bits of paper and slipped into a jar. Every young man would then pull out a girl's name and the pair would be coupled together for the rest of Lupercalia. It's like a fun little blind date bingo,
That does not sound fun. Like throwing your name in a fucking hat for some random person to pick out.
You don't think that's a meet cute?
No, I don't want to do that.
Well, I don't know. I think I prefer that to the idea of an arranged marriage,
Well,
some people
but there
fell in
wasn't.
love. Some people fell in love and then they would stay together and then they get married,
They were paired. Just worked out.
Cosmic connection that never would have happened otherwise. So
It might have happened otherwise. They don't know that.
Grandma, how'd you meet Grandpa?
Well, he drew my name out of a hat.
Got me pregnant during Lupercalia, and that was it. Here we are. The ancient Romans may also be responsible for the name of our modern day of love, with over 10,800 saints. Jesus. So with all those saints banging around, there's bound to be multiple people with the same name, Valentine. You're playing an odds game at that point. There were probably several named Bob. I reckon there were a couple Sues.
I doubt anybody's name was Bob.
Really common name.
I mean, now I don't know about then. I mean, their name was Valentine, not Bob. Saint Bob.
Saint Bob, Saint Robert, Saint Robert, I'm sure.
Well, I mean, but Robert's different. They didn't go by Bob.
Well, he would have done. They just put your
don't
government
know
name
what he
on the
would have
saint.
done.
They weren't progressive like they are now, where they ask you what name you prefer. They didn't have like
It was just official only.
Yeah, the form was very limited, and I think he was not able to fill it out on his own.
You are just rambling.
I'm just trying to tell you the way saints are named. Many of them were named Valentine, and many of them were likely named Bob. You don't have
Okay, Bob it
evidence
is.
really against it. So.
You're right, I don't.
It is not officially known whether the stories about Saint Valentine were about one man or multiple men merged together. So it just turns into like the legend of Bob after
The
so many
legend of
years.
Saint Valentine.
Right. Yeah. Him
Not
as well.
Bob.
Him as
Bob
well.
Valentine.
The most popular belief is that he was a priest in the Roman Empire during the 3rd century and was executed under the command of Claudius II for performing marriages in secret after the emperor had outlawed them. The story goes that while awaiting his fate in prison, he fell in love with the jailer's daughter. After his sentence was decided, Valentine supposedly left a farewell note to the young lady and signed it, "From your Valentine." Then on the 14th of February, 269 AD, he exited the jail and walked towards the most unromantic of ends, death by beating and decapitation. As Christianity swept across the globe, many pagan traditions were absorbed and adapted into the Christian faith. In the 5th century, Pope Gelasius I banned Lupercalia and declared February 14th a day to feast and celebrate the life of the martyred Saint Valentine, or Bob.
Yeah, Bob Valentine. That's where we've landed.
The festival became more of a theatrical interpretation of what it had once been, but that didn't stop it from being a day of fertility and love. So, like, if you're listening to this and you don't know already, all women ovulate on Valentine's Day. Always.
You know what's really unfortunate about that?
What?
I got pregnant real close to Valentine's Day.
No, you didn't.
Yeah, I mean, his birthday's in November.
I bet you anything he was beating you in your sleep with strips of bloody goat flesh.
Well, that's probably what
That's
happened.
probably exactly what
That is
happened.
some horse shit is what happened.
I have no other way of explaining it. So,
I don't either. I mean, it hadn't happened up until then.
you know, thanks. Next time I see him, I'm going to call him out on that and be like, "I see you celebrating Lupercalia, making my friend pregnant, all fertile for Valentine's Day. What flesh did she expose? Where did you hit her?"
I was sleeping. Who knows?
Don't go anywhere, ghoul fiends. Creepy Tapas will return after these messages. This is Ash.
And I'm Jordan.
We host Creepy Tapas on the Darkcast Network. On our show, we serve up tiny tastes of terror, true stories that haunt and chill. So you can imagine our tastes are a little on the darker side. That's why when I'm looking for the perfect gift for my super spooky friends, or something unique for myself, I get all snuggled up, head online to shop at Batwings and Butterflies.
Batwings and Butterflies is an independent, creator-owned boutique of handmade knit creations. Some are wild, some are dark, but all are sure to please even the hardest person to shop for.
You'll find baby Baphomets, super giant stuffed tarantulas, blankets, plant hangers, water pipe cozies, and so much more. All items are original works of art by a talented artisan.
Support small businesses and order your one-of-a-kind creation today.
Find Batwings and Butterflies at batwingsandbutterflies.bigcartel.com or on Instagram at Batwings and Butterflies. I'm in love with this fucking pizza blanket so much. I need this pizza blanket. It's incredible. Isn't that the cutest thing you've ever seen?
Ooh, yeah, it really is.
Isn't that fun? And look at that baby Baphomet.
Oh, I love my little stuffed Baphomet.
You get 20% off your first purchase at Batwings and Butterflies. Just type in the code DARKCAST20 at checkout and tell them Creepy Tapas sent you.
Mwah.
Mwah. Batwings and Butterflies, Batwings and Butterflies.
Get your creepy shit.
Get your creep on at Batwings and Butterflies. Meh.
Me.
We're really good at ads.
Are we?
Hello, I'm Kona Gallagher.
And I'm Ethan Flick.
We're the husband and wife team behind the True Crime podcast, And Then They Were Gone.
We're a weekly show that covers unsolved missing persons cases. These are cases that you, the listener, can have an impact on.
That's right. Each week, we bring you a new case of someone who has gone missing and needs their story told. Some of the people you may have heard of, like Kristen Smart or Braceless Pisa. But we also bring you missing people of color and other cases that haven't gotten the mainstream attention that they deserve. We cover the missing person's life and delve into the investigation and media coverage.
One thing that we've learned in the nearly 2 years of doing this podcast is that a lot of these cases could be solved if pressure was put on the investigative agencies to do more. Our hope is that by getting these stories out there, you'll help us put that pressure on them.
So come along with us as we tell these stories, and maybe you hold the key to bringing someone home. And Then They Were Gone is a proud member of the Darkcast Network and Spreaker Prime. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Good Pods, or your favorite podcast app.
So I did a little deep dive about some of the 3 most popular presents that you get during Valentine's Day. Can you guess what the first one is on the list?
The most popular gifts.
One of the most, it's a Valentine's Day staple.
Is it flowers?
It's a type of flower. Which one in
Ooh.
particular?
Ooh, the flower of love. Roses?
Yes, ding, ding, ding. You won. Specifically, red roses. The rose did not start its life as a symbol of romance. We're going to pop in the time machine. We're going to go back to Victorian England. Eee! That's probably actually not very good for either one of us.
Probably not.
Like get burned at the stake. Shit.
Witches.
Women's roles were limited by social norms and customs. Education was limited at the time, so women were only permitted to learn subjects that were deemed socially acceptable. The language of flowers, or florography, was studied by most Victorian women and was basically really slow, cryptic text messaging. These messages would be sent to lovers, friends, and yes, even enemies. Imagine sending your enemy a bouquet of flowers.
Were there poisonous flowers in them?
No, but like the message would be like, fuck you.
Fuck
Like it would be like,
Look at
I
this
hate
ugly
you.
flower.
Yeah, they would send them like belladonna and shit. So yeah, sometimes a little poisonous.
I was about to say, isn't that poisonous?
Yes, yeah, but it's pretty funny. I just try to imagine you get like a bouquet and you look at it and you're like, oh,
They fucking hate me.
an insult. Some of the hidden meanings come directly from the root name, which was sometimes based from mythology. For example, narcissist would convey egotism. Other meanings would come from the flowers directly. The colors, medical properties, and even magical superstitions surrounding the flowers helped create the hidden language. For example, cabbage, cut it up, put it in your salad. Bunny rabbits like to eat it, all that. Grow children out of them. They look like cash, which is, means wealth, profit, or money. Walnuts symbolized intellect because they kind of look like a brain.
They kind of do.
Pennyroyal in a bouquet often symbolized you must leave, disdain for the recipient, or a declaration of war. So I guess if you sent someone pennyroyal, you might be
It's fucking on.
having a cat fight with like bouquets of flowers.
Bitch, I want a duel at midnight.
They just throw fucking Victorian bouquets
And
at each
toss
other
it
in the
face.
street.
Or just slap them across the face with it. I slap you.
Every flower had a special meaning, and certain qualities of the flower could mean different things. For example, a green carnation symbolized homosexuality, whereas a red carnation meant, my heart aches for you. So maybe you could put a mix of red and green carnations to be like, that's how you would tell someone, like, I'm having amorous feelings towards.
I don't think I've ever seen a green carnation.
I've seen them a lot on St. Patrick's Day.
I mean, like where you put food coloring in the water and they just turn that color? Okay.
Yeah.
I was going to say, they're not naturally green, are they?
I think some of them are.
Oh.
Yeah. They're just not, but that's how people,
Yeah.
today, I'd have to check that, but I'm pretty sure they are. Yeah. The same flower, a different color, different meaning, right? So a rose meant perfect beauty on its own, but the red symbolized romance. So you can see how the recipient would read the red rose as being a romantic gesture. Although most of these secret messages faded away over time, we still use the red rose today to tell someone we want to smash.
Is that what you're saying?
Oh yeah, bow chicka bow wow. Like I didn't see this in any of my research, but it made me think about like, you remember the flower presses that they used to have all the time? Women would press flowers. I wonder if sometimes that was their way of preserving a message that somebody would send them.
Oh, maybe.
Is maybe they would press them and put them together. Like that was
Like in an album.
Yeah, because you see that a lot where it's like the whole pressed bouquet and they would frame it or whatever. I don't know. I wonder about that. That's kind of cool. That makes me want to like gift you, like for our birthday, we should exchange coated flowers that like pressed.
No, I don't like flowers. They attract bees and
No, they would be pressed in a frame.
Are you going to press them and put them in a frame? Are you going to do it for both of us? Because I'm not doing that.
Just make the
How
bouquet.
do you even press them? Like with a book, you just smush them? If you hang roses upside down to dry them out, the petals won't fall off and then you can like keep dried roses. But I've never seen anybody press them.
Yeah, you should look it up. They had flower presses and they were like two wooden pieces with like a little bit of sort of like a spongy cloth on either side of the wood. And then there was like a metal bar on each side. Like I said, it was just like a vise. You would tighten it just like a vise.
Well,
and it would apply a lot of pressure to the flower and take out all of the moisture, which would then like dehydrate it and preserve it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's really cool. Some of these Victorian women, like, yeah, they couldn't learn a lot of shit, but the shit that they did learn, like, I don't know, some of it, I don't think it should be the only thing you learn, but some of it might be kind of fun and beautiful to still use today,
Right.
There's a pretty art to that. According to the Society of American Florists, upwards of 250 million roses are produced annually specifically for Valentine's Day.
Somebody's making that money.
Whew. Ooh, get that shmoney. Get that shmoney.
This is your time of year. Get it.
That's right. This is like the pumpkin season, you know? This is rose season.
It is.
What the next biggest thing to give somebody on Valentine's Day? And if you miss it, you get punched in the face.
Well, I hope I don't miss it. Is it candy?
A type of candy.
Mm,
What specific candy?
chocolate?
Ooh, yes. You got it. Yay! Le chocolat. We have been using chocolate in relation to sexual desire and romance for over 5,000 years. I was actually really surprised to learn that. I thought that for whatever reason, I thought that the Swiss and the German had kind of created chocolate as we know it right now. And I don't know, I always assumed that it was fairly young, like maybe a couple thousand years, but
Well, I'm sure they had cocoa plants.
well, yeah, that's the thing. I was just like having some ignorant white people stuff. So
Well,
the
chocolate
earliest
didn't exist. Somebody made it.
someone made that shit. The earliest documentation of it comes from the Mayans. Remember their calendar? Everyone thought we were going to die in 2012 because it was the end of the Mayan calendar.
Yep. We didn't.
Boy, no one talks about that fuck up anymore, do they?
I mean, how many times has the end of the world been predicted already? I mean, fuck, it was supposed to end in the year 2002 with Y2K.
Yep, and we're still here. Yeah, well, the Y2K was because the computers too weren't going to be able to handle it.
Yeah, like they were just gonna this stop working because the computers are gonna think that it's 1900. That was the dumbest bullshit. I mean, and I was young as fuck, so
Me too. I was like, I don't think that's how coding works.
actually I had no idea how coding worked. I was like, well, maybe, whatever. I don't know. I think it'll be fine.
We were like massive financial collapse, the end of
I mean, I was
civilization
like
as we
14.
know
I
it.
didn't give a fuck. Well, I guess I was
Like-
13 because I wouldn't have been 14 until
Yeah, we were little ones looking at the end of the world.
yeah, just staring it down.
We've experienced the end of the world at least twice.
At least, probably more than that. We just don't even know it.
Oh my God. Yeah. It depends who you ask. I need to hang out with more apocalypse fans.
Make friends with some preppers because we're not prepping. Let me come stay with you, friend.
We're best friends, right?
Right? We're cool. I'm pretty good with a machete.
I'm not really good at survival skills, but I can tell you about the Mayans and the origins of chocolate. Check that out. So the Mayans love drinking chocolate. They would grow and harvest cocoa beans, grind them into a paste, which was then mixed with chilies, cornmeal, and water. This chocolatey drink was used in religious ceremonies and as a dessert at the end of celebratory feasts, which, you know, makes a lot of sense, man. They didn't have like fucking high fructose corn syrup and shit. They couldn't make a cake. They didn't know all that. They were like, fucking, let's have this chocolate drink. I think about that a lot. I'm like, man, they didn't know some shit. They couldn't even make chocolate chip cookies. Like they didn't know. They didn't have.
Yeah, I'd say it was probably pretty thick with some cornmeal in it.
Yeah, probably. I'm almost tempted to try it though, just to see. I mean, I'm a believer if we make simple syrup and pour like, you know, at least 3 cups in there, it'll make it sugary.
I don't know.
Cut that bitter cocoa. The Mayans were the first culture to link chocolate with romantic love. The couple would sip the chocolatey concoction from a shared chalice during their wedding ceremony. No, don't backwash in the chocolate. I'll get a divorce. Get your own. I want a separate chalice.
Well, then,
So like we can do the sharing thing, but I'm going first.
well, there you go. See, then you don't even have to worry about it. You
Yeah,
can spit
there
in
you
it.
So Aztecs created a similar beverage called Zocolotl, which contains cocoa, honey, and vanilla, which actually sounds friggin' delicious. And I'm tempted to order one the next time I go out for fancy coffee drinks. Like maybe tomorrow we should be like cocoa, honey, and vanilla. It's coffee with hot chocolate, honey, and vanilla in it.
That sounds like too much.
It sounds wonderful.
I mean, that sounds good, but I don't know about with coffee.
Well, this was believed to give you special powers.
It probably does. Chocolate makes you a superhero.
So it was known to arouse severe passion and make you like incredibly amorous.
Was an aphrodisiac.
Yes, you could become the boner champion.
Owner champion.
King Montezuma II would partake in this ritual before entering his harem to stoke his libido, you know? Make sure he had it going on. So this would eventually lead Spanish explorers to believe that the Zocolotl, or chocolate, bestowed you with a special power, so you could last forever when you are having sex.
Ooh.
The powers of love. You would have the love all over the place. Probably like the women liked it because we love chocolate, you know?
I love chocolate. I don't know if I've ever told you, but it's my favorite food.
Yeah,
Axel
me
gets it
too.
mad at me every time I say that. He's like, chocolate's not a food. I'm like, yes,
Yes,
the
it
fuck it
is.
is. I eat it. It's delicious and I love it.
It has nutritional content.
It does. And if you eat the right kind of chocolate, it's got antioxidants and all kinds of shit in it.
Yeah, man, and some of it's not that bad. You could take an Easter bunny and you can like shave it on a cheese grater over a salad,
Shut up.
like a block of cheese.
Ain't nobody
Really
doing
good.
that.
You can do it.
I mean, you can
You
shave
can
it
do
over
it.
like oatmeal or
Over your French fries.
over your
You
french
want to have
fries. You
what you
know,
want.
whatever. Over your
You know?
popcorn. Ooh.
Oh, son of a bitch.
Okay, anyways.
So the Spanish would add their own flair to this, adding cinnamon and cane sugar to cut the bitterness. Again, sounds really good. The scientific name of the cocoa tree is Theobroma coco. This literally translates to food of the gods. Duh. Like I
Yeah.
didn't even I feel
Yeah.
like I just knew that with the fibers of my being.
I agree with that. 100%.
That's what I'm going to start calling it. I'm going to stop using the word chocolate. I'm going to be like, you got any of that god food? Once Spanish explorers in the 16th century introduced chocolate to the Western world, it was such a rare and highly coveted treat, it was only available to the royal or wealthy. However, in the mid-19th century, J.S. Fry and Sons, a British company, invented the first chocolate bar by mixing cocoa powder with sugar and cocoa butter. Within a few years, people began trying different things with the mixture, eventually leading to hollow chocolate shells filled with different fruits and jellies. When this style of chocolate became popular, Cadbury made their first fancy box.
Look at you over there cracking up about fancy box.
I got a fancy box for you. Vajazzle. Do you remember the Vajazzler?
I don't.
Oh my God. Yeah. You could get like, they were like little sticky rhinestones and you could like vajazzle your vagina. I'm not like making this up.
Say it. Who the fuck would need to do that?
I mean, I can produce websites linking you to who.
Vajazzlers.
Vajazzlers. Yeah.
No, I've never heard of that. Okay.
That way, if you're like dancing in a naked club, right? In a
Oh.
nude bar, you can like vajazzle
Sparkle.
your snazzle and
Yeah, sparkly snatch. Got you. Fancy box. Gotcha. Okay, so fancy box.
That's not what it was, though.
No.
That's not what Cadbury created. This was actually a heart-shaped box filled with stuffed chocolate candies. The original thought behind heart-shaped boxes was you could eat the sweets and keep the box for your love letters, Valentine's cards, and mementos. Isn't that sweet?
Fucking precious.
They were trying to give you like junk storage.
Right. Save this box. See, and that's where it all started. And now none of us can throw fucking boxes away because we think we're going to need them.
Right. And then, well, I guess the cool thing about that too, though, if you keep all of your relationship mementos in one heart-shaped box, is that when you burn it in effigy at the end of the relationship, it's all in one convenient place.
That's true. You don't have to
just
hunt that shit down.
Burn it. Just burn
Right.
after you rip his heart out and put it in the box.
Chuck it in the
You
fire.
light the whole thing. That's right. Problem solved.
Exactly.
I've been thinking about this though a lot. Seriously, you know how everyone texts nowadays? Like, I don't know, it's sort of lame. Like one day all that digital shit goes away and you don't have the love letters anymore. When was the last time you got a pen and paper? TJ wrote me a couple sweet cards and that was really nice. And I treasure them because I'm like, man, like we don't do that much. Like people don't do that very often, but people used to write love letters like all the time.
Yeah, my grandpa used to write poetry to my grandma.
See?
She has a
You
whole book
see?
of poetry that he wrote for her.
Oh my God. Bring it back, y'all. Let's write fucking poetry for each other. That was dope. What a time.
Right. He was really fucking sweet.
Historical anecdotes aside, chocolate does alter your mood, but we know it's not magic, it's science. Chocolate contains phenylethylamine, which releases endorphins. The same happy feeling you get when in love, having sex, or working out. So, same when you're eating chocolate.
Magic.
That's how I'm getting them lately. I used to work out. Now I just eat chocolate.
Yeah, there you go. Whatever.
Tripping out on sensation and profit in the US, we spend about $11 billion a year on chocolates.
Probably.
Sounds about right. Yeah, definitely. We know, of course, how important a box of chocolates on Valentine's Day is to so many people here in the US, even little kids. But what about other parts of the world, huh? In Japan, Valentine's Day is the biggest chocolate event of the year, but women offer men chocolate gifts referred to as girl choco. Sounds like an innuendo.
It does.
It's not, though. In South Korea, women offer chocolate to men, and the men reciprocate a month later and give them chocolate back. It's called like White Monday or something like that. So everybody gets chocolate. on 2 separate days. I'm happy that they have 2 occasions for chocolate, though. Like, that makes me really happy. It's a reflection of your people, how many occasions for chocolate you have per year.
Yeah.
Taiwan similarly celebrates twice a year, once on February 14th and again on July 7th. Now, I find that interesting because that's 7/7, which equals 14. Right?
Oh, well, I mean, maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, it definitely does, but
It does,
maybe
yeah.
there's a correlation, is what I meant by maybe.
Argentina is my absolute favorite, though. They celebrate Valentine's Day for a week straight.
That's too much.
I bet it's slamming. They probably use that as such a big excuse to just like get down and funky for like a whole week. It's probably like hedonism. The last thing, what is it that you always get for Valentine's? You can't eat it. It doesn't smell. Well, sometimes it smells.
Sometimes they sing.
Yeah, sometimes they sing. Yes, it is
Valentine's Day cards.
Yar. So, like we discussed previously, when the evil, love-hating asshole Claudius II reigned, marriage was outlawed. He was pretty sure his military defenses were slipping, not because no one was willing to die for him on his many blood campaigns, but because of their attachments to their families and their children, made them all want to stay home, you know? Same. I'm happy. No thanks. Like, if I have an option between war or hanging out with TJ and Lyra, like,
Yeah, like I'm gonna stay with them.
yeah. So when the Roman priest Valentinus wrote his final farewell to his crush, the jailer's daughter, it is highly considered the first Valentine, especially since, like we said, it is signed from your Valentine. However, another 1,000 years would pass before the act of writing and exchanging cards would become mainstream. The Greeting Card Association says the oldest known Valentine's Day card still exists to this day. It's a poem written by the Duke of Orleans. Not New Orleans, just Orleans.
Just regular ass Orleans.
Just regular, that's right, old Orleans.
No, regular.
The Duke had a tragic life, wrought with grief like so many during that time. His first wife was lost during childbirth, and his family had mostly all died. Eventually, he was captured at the Battle of Agincourt in 1415 and sent to the Tower of London. He would spend 25 years in confinement, which...
That's terrible.
Yeah. While he was a prisoner, he wrote many letters back home to his wife, as well as journals of poetry, which became progressively darker during his confinement. One such communication to his wife is the very first Valentine, and it goes, "My very gentle Valentine, since for me you were born too soon, and I, for you, was born too late. God forgives him who has estranged me from you the whole year. I am already sick of love, my very gentle Valentine."
Okay.
Unfortunately, his wife would pass away in 1435, several years before Charles's release. She died childless while waiting for her husband to return to her. So, yeah, happy Valentine's Day. In 1850, this custom came to America, and by 1916, it had gone full commercial, became an institution worth billions of dollars, which is how we measure something's worth. So, yeah,
that's what America does.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I'm not like, I don't say that shit.
Oh, yeah, you're not a gremlin like me.
I don't know. Have sentimental attachment to pieces of paper. Not Valentine's cards. I have like obituaries. Is that weird?
No. Nope. Carry on. We are gonna take a quick break. But then when we come back, we are going to talk about movies that I guess I suffered through.
I didn't.
You know. Don't go anywhere, ghoul fiends. Creepy Tapas will return after these messages.
My fellow citizens, our Earth is in the middle of a crisis, plunging deeper into chaos. Know I feel your pain and your loss. We can't stand idly by and let this happen. We must rise up and... Sorry. Damn it. Well, this is awkward. Hi, my name is Josh Shell, and I am the host of the Let's Start a Cult podcast, where each episode, myself and some guests take a look at different cults from around the world. For educational purposes only, and definitely not to start our own cult. Join me every other week as we break down dangerous religious cults, political extremist groups, and every other kind of cult in between. Should I apologize with a terrible southern accent? No? Okay. Subscribe and listen to Let's Start a Cult anywhere you listen to podcasts.
Hey there, Ghoul Fiends. It's Ash from Creepy Tapas. If you know me, you know I love to spend countless hours browsing independent businesses, putting things in my shopping cart that I only buy once a year when I spend all of my money supporting all of your businesses. Well, I found the cutest little online shop on Etsy called Wick of the Wood. Wick of the Wood specializes in unique accent candles with an inventory that consists of one-of-a-kind handmade candles that can fit in a variety of spaces and aesthetics. Wick of the Wood always has their eye out for new candle molds, thrifted containers, and other inspiration. The idea that everyone can have a candle that fits whatever quirky space they need inspires Wick of the Wood to think outside the candle mold and make any idea you might have a reality. Since she was a little girl, the owner has always dreamt of having a little shop where she could sell her handmade items. Under the watchful eye of her dog, she lovingly hand makes each item, packages them, and mails them to you from Seattle, Washington. But you don't have to take it from me. Here are some testimonials from several happy Wick of the Wood customers. Susie says, 5 stars.
I've ordered from this shop, and every time it's an amazing experience. Everything smells amazing, and the packaging is always so cute and functional. This is my favorite candle shop.
Tandra also gives Wick of the Wood 5 stars.
These are so cool. I only burned 3 so I could keep one for show.
Another 5 stars from Dwar, who says,
The seller is so kind. Beautifully packaged. The candles smell and look amazing. Bought it for my bestie roomie and she loves it. Thank you, and thank you for the freebies too.
Ooh, freebies. Those are just a few of the amazing reviews over at Wick of the Wood. I ordered a few for Christmas and I cannot wait to smell them and give them as gifts. Guess what you're getting for Christmas?
A
Wick
candle.
of the Wood. I'm especially excited about these adorable poison apple candles. They're so freaking adorable and spooky. I love it. You can check out Wick of the Wood at Etsy.com, shop Wick of the Wood. Follow Wick of the Wood on Twitter at Wick of the Wood. Wick of the Wood. Really neat candles. Check them out. Wick of the Wood. You really should. They're on Etsy. Hey, hey, hey.
Give them a sniff.
Goofy.
We back.
I noticed something really, really annoying on my voyage into Valentine's Day horror films.
What's that?
Almost all of them are centered around, they're basically revenge stories right now. Women overcoming douchehead, abusive, like husbands, boyfriends. You actually mostly boyfriends. I didn't actually watch any with husbands. It was mostly like dating nightmares, boyfriends, like really manipulative, controlling kind of narcissist types. And the whole plot would be kind of focused around this woman who was the protagonist getting away from that man. That was the story. Like she would get away and then exact her revenge. That was a lot of it.
That's the gist of Valentine's horror.
That's the gist. It's all focused
If it's
around,
not a slasher.
Yeah. Well, it feels like so much of it is just I guess like horror is, right? Like it's just the opposite of what Valentine's Day is. It's all the bad feelings. So, if Valentine's is like love and feeling like togetherness, then horror is about like isolation and anger and unrequited love and, that kind of shit. So it was pretty
Stalking.
spicy. Yes, stalking, all that happy stuff. So I did watch one that was really creative today called Cupid, and that was shot in 2020. It's written and directed by Scott Jeffrey, starring Georgina Jane as the leading young lady, Faye, who has had a rough time. Her dad recently passed away, and she gets bullied by the bitchiest bitch in school. She does what any other basic white girl going through teen angst does. She starts to play with black magic. Why not?
Yep, that's what we all do.
Harmless until, you summon a Cupid demon. And Cupid's demon design was actually pretty fucking cool. I really dug his face. He was like this really dark angel and he had like his teeth exposed and he was all like, looking, I know that you can't see my face, listener. Trust me that it looked very, just did. But yeah,
monstrous.
Yes, he was very monstrous, and I've kind of am in love with that character design. He was flying around shooting people with a bow and arrow. Yeah, Yeah, it was really it was really fun. Some of the kills were super Valentine centric. Like there was this one scene where he shoves a bouquet of long stem roses down this girl's mouth, like into her throat, and it like comes out of her neck.
Like the stems come out?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was like, all right, like they're really leaning into this theme right now,
Well,
they're
you
going
gotta
for it. Yeah.
Go for it or
And it was happening during like a Valentine's dance at a high school, so
naturally.
it was fun. The mix of accents, I had a really hard time figuring out what the setting was. And maybe that was the point. It was supposed to be like any town prep school, USA. I don't know. But the story was a little meh. And it wasn't necessarily what I would call high art or whatever. But it's a fun, gory blood fest. The whole story is rooted in jealousy, rage, passion, of course. And it has a really kind of awkward ending, actually. Like the ending made me really uncomfortable, but not in ways that I want to be uncomfortable. Yeah, it's hard to explain. I watched it on Tubi with ads for free, but you can also rent it for a couple bucks on Prime. I always watch it for a few ads because the ad breaks always remind me to get up and stretch and ignore the television so that I can't hear their junk.
Look at you skipping ads.
It's literally skipping. I go for a skip and jog. Into the Dark 2022. This is called My Valentine. It was in 2022, also known as last year. And it's from Hulu and Blumhouse's Into the Dark series, which is an anthology. It's a horror anthology series that introduces a darker side to all of the holidays. I don't know if you ever saw Puka. You remember Pilgrim, the one we talked about for Thanksgiving? Yes. Okay. That was the Thanksgiving installment of season 2 was that episode. So basically they're like little hour and a half long films and they're all like holiday themed. My Valentine is written and directed by Maggie Levin. It's not explicitly Valentine's themed, but the protagonist, played by Britt Baron, is named Valentine Fox. So she's like a pop star, and that's her name. So that's pretty much where the Valentine connection begins and ends. There's a lot of puns with her name, but nothing's happening like on Valentine's Day or anything like that.
There's no correlation with Valentine's Day other
Not
than her
really.
name.
Yeah, but
Okay.
I put it on this list. Valentine Fox is a pop star who has been scorned and betrayed by her ex, who's like king toxicity, super duper manipulative, and he's just a massive violent ass. That was kind of and it's not as great as some of the other installments like Puka or Pilgrim, but it has an appropriate rating of 4.5 stars on IMDb, which I agree with. Sometimes there were overt caricatures of people, which were kind of funny at times, and I did like the multiple occasions where the overly stylized use to colored LEDs were implemented. They also had like little graphics pop out and stuff. Like somebody would get hit in the head and like a bunch of like sparkles and stars would come out of their face. Like it was, it was really stylized. And some of it looked like a music video. It was really weird.
Oh, I would imagine
Really
if like stars and fireworks are just randomly popping out of people.
I don't know. A lot of the Into the Dark series are style over substance to me, but they're nice little background things, especially like they always have that holiday theme. And that's always fun when you want to have that holiday feeling, but still maybe a story about, a psycho killer. You want to have all of these things,
Yeah.
Down 2019. This is another Into the Dark installment. This intimate thriller is built around two people. One setting, there's a man and a woman, both strangers, and they're stuck in a high-rise elevator on Valentine's night.
What was it called?
Down. I don't want to give too much away because it had some pretty fun twists and turns. And I think that somebody who's probably a little less jaded than I am would really enjoy some of those twists and turns. So I don't know, check it out. It's got a pretty raunchy sex scene. I probably wouldn't show it around a kid, but it's it's pretty obvious what they're doing in it, and it's pretty explicit. But I'll never understand, by the way, side note, not taking your heels off when you're in one of these movies and you have to do like some running or some fancy footwork. Why do they leave their heels on?
Well,
why have you not weaponized your heel?
Right, take them shits off and stab somebody with them.
Stab him in the fucking eye. Stab him in the trachea.
I mean, it's easier to run without them anyways. You don't want to break a fucking ankle.
Right? Well, there was a scene in this movie. Spoiler alert. If you want to see the movie Down, it's really worth it. Here's a little bit of a spoiler, though. She's trying to climb up an elevator shaft, and she's doing it in these platform heels. And I'm like, you need your monkey toes right now. You need grip. You need your grip. Like, this is not the time,
No.
And again, a great weapon.
Yeah, if I can knock somebody out with one of them chunky shoes.
Why are you wearing little spears on your heels if you're not going to use them to impale an attacker? I don't understand.
Just dumb bitches.
Yeah, it's crazy. That's like, why would you not use a thong as a slingshot if you needed? Like, if that's not the first thing you think of, I don't know what's wrong with you.
How would you get that off fast enough to use it as a slingshot?
All panties have an escape hatch.
No, they don't.
You just got to be brave enough to find it.
Oh. Oh.
Final girls, get your shit together, though. Come on, take your fucking heels off. But it has a few moments it wasn't entirely expecting. And like all the Into the Darkness stuff, like I said, it's shot really well, but the story does sometimes go off the rails at the end, sort of Ryan Murphy style, where things seem to just serve a twist or a plot rather than being earned by character development or story. We didn't talk about Infinity Pool.
Oh my God, we didn't.
You and James saw it. TJ and I saw it.
We did.
Discuss amongst yourselves.
And basically an empty theater.
Really?
It was nice. Well, we had to go to Sevierville because it wasn't playing here.
Y'all went to Sevierville?
We did. We went to Sevierville and we sat in reclined seats and I didn't fall asleep.
So what'd you think of it?
It was all right. I didn't like it as much as I wanted to, although I don't really know what I expected it to be, but it wasn't what I expected it to be. It was good and I liked it.
I loved the way that it looked. I loved Mia Goth. Her eating a bucket of fried chicken and drinking wine on the hood of a convertible was a beautiful scene. Like screaming at Alexander Skarsgård to keep walking.
Yeah, I mean, there were a lot of like really awesome scenes. I don't know. It was well done. But like the end message that I kind of got out of it was rich people are shitty.
Yeah, it had a very eat the rich kind of theme to it. I had trouble following some of the things that happened. Like I didn't realize that Alexander Skarsgård's character, he was getting like sexual pleasure out of watching himself be executed. Like it was turning him on.
Yeah, well, I think they all enjoyed it.
Yeah, well, he was getting like hard over it. And I guess too, like that scene where she jacks him off, they do like a close up in the uncut version of like a fake penis that they made, and you actually see it ejaculate.
Well, we kind of assumed that was cut out, and that's why the rating switched from NC-17 to rated R.
That was the thing. I was like, what could possibly be that bad?
But then you still had a scene where they come like back onto the fucking rocks, and it just
where the pee had
God,
gone.
you hear splatter. It was gross. I mean, I could have done without that. I mean, I don't think a bunch of dongs would have made it any better.
No, it wouldn't have.
It was good. It was slightly confusing.
I felt like it was several stories that I wish he'd followed up on.
Yeah, there was stuff that never really got addressed that I feel like should have been.
TJ and I were talking on the way home. I was like, so spoiler alert for Infinity Pool, by the way, because we weren't sure if he had sent one of his duplicates back home to America and then he was just sitting on the beach. I wasn't sure if like the cops had switched them and like that first one to die was actually him in real life.
Yeah. Well, like they all talked about it, but then never really.
But then that was it. And, maybe that was the point. Maybe that was the point. And whatever, that's fine. I want a story, if I'm going to go see a movie, that at least has a resolution to one of the many, many potential stories that you have thrown out here, because it was really hard for me to give a shit about any of the characters by the end of that movie.
Well, they all just seemed like such shitty people.
And it wasn't even just that. It was that we never hung with anyone long enough to feel for them.
Yeah, that is true.
Even the people that I could tell you were supposed to feel for, I just felt like if they died, I wouldn't have been like heartbroken, I guess. Like I would have been like, oh, that's this movie. They'll probably be back alive in 5 seconds,
Yeah, well, that one scene where they were all like waiting in the waiting room in their prison garb. Yeah. And he like, I'm sick of you guys taking advantage of this, and like drags them in there. I thought that he was really about to kill all of them, and then they're over there just sitting there laughing about it. I was like, damn, I feel like they just really overstepped They were just really shitty to everybody. They kept breaking the law and murdering people and doing like breaking into things and like, I don't know, just basically terrorizing this poor little island. And then instead of getting in trouble for it, they just made a duplicate and murdered them. It just made them all out to be really shitty people.
And I think that was part of the whole point of it, is that like the richer you are and the more power you have, and you can just get away with things. Like, no, that's the whole thing, is they could go to this island and they could act out their impulses and just buy their way out of it. And then they started like getting a thrill from watching their duplicate killed too. Like it, like the whole thing became like an annual game. And I did enjoy that one scene where they're boarding their airplanes and everyone is just fucking regular now.
Right. They're all like, all right, bye. We'll see you next year.
Yeah. And like everyone just is wearing like fucking sweatpants and going back home to their dickhead jobs and yards and whatever the fuck, And once a year they murder people. They get together. Yeah. They get together and they kill people. And then they have them, and then just get away with it by buying a duplicate to be accountable. So I thought that it was, fine if you want to make a statement about like colonizers or about like the rich, like cool, but he could have at least followed it up with something like, I don't know, it was kind of interesting how his wife left him, like, because now he didn't have money. So TJ and I were both thinking, oh, he's going to be up shit creek. He's not going to have the money to afford to buy the duplicate. And maybe that'll be the end of the movie, is he'll actually die because he has no more money to get himself out of it. They just didn't. It didn't.
I think the rest of the group just started paying for him too.
I think so. At a certain point,
I mean, solely so they could just keep fucking with him.
Because they loved it. They loved it. I'm glad that you saw it, though. I'm glad that I saw it in theaters. I would give it probably like a 4 out of 10. I didn't think it was fine.
It was fun. I mean, I liked it. Again, there was a lot of things left unanswered. It was a little confusing. They were all kind of shitty people, but it was an interesting story, and there were some really cool scenes in it.
Yes. Oh, yeah, definitely. So, Picnic at Hanging Rock, 1975. Man, this was slow. I have not made it through the entire movie yet. I actually spoiled it for myself online, and I never do that. But I was like, I had like 35 minutes left to it, and I was like, this is fucking grueling. Like, I can't even, I
couldn't finish it.
It was rough. It's beautiful, but it's also very tedious. It's based on a 1967 novel by Cliff Green, who also wrote the screenplay for the film adaptation in 1975. Directed by Peter Weir, this eerie mystery set in 1900 spends a whole lot of time being contemplative and moody while a private school group of ladies goes on a picnic to a spot called Hanging Rock. At best, it is artfully edited visual poetry, but at worst, it's slow and a bit dull. Apparently, it's supernatural, but you'd fall asleep within the first like 10 minutes. It's rough. I almost did. And the last one I've got for you, because we're not going to talk today about the obvious ones. I don't want to talk about My Bloody Valentine. Everyone knows. Go watch it. It's great. It's great.
It was pretty good.
It's great. Go check it out. It's a slasher flick. It takes place in a mine. Yeah, it's fun. It's a good time. Go check it out. And, My Bloody Valentine, what was it? 3 double D, and it was like all titties and shit.
I didn't watch that.
3D. It was pretty cool. Or am I thinking of Piranha 3? I don't know. Anyway, go check it out. My Bloody Valentine, it happens in a mine. But yeah, Love Witch, 2016, written and directed by Anna Biller. Just as a side note here, Anna Biller is a feminist. Her take on cinema is heavily rooted in feminist film theory. So this film took her a really long time to do. And if you look at the credits, she did everything, like costume design, props, editing, scoring, music, the whole thing. Like her fucking name is on this thing like 2,000 times, right? And she actually filmed it on 35 millimeter film. So it looks like an old Technicolor movie, but she shot it in 2016. It's about a witch. Tina Belcher would love it. There's asses all over it. There's just naked asses all over. It's Victorian Gothic style with pastel color palettes. So it's very, cherry goth. This bitch is a witch and she goes on a killing spree.
Well, that sounds fun. With their butts out.
Men with their butts out. Well, there's a lot of sacrificial culty things going on there,
Everything's scarier when your butt's out.
So that's our show, guys. Thank you so much for listening.
Thanks, y'all. Happy Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day. Don't forget to cut some hearts out. Whip your lady with some goat flesh.
Yeah.
If you haven't already, like, rate, review, subscribe, tickle our 5-star rating button. We love it so much. Tell a friend. We are also on TikTok. Jordan is making these adorable sound clips. You can find us anywhere at Creepy Tapas. That's CreepyTapas. Thanks, y'all.
Thanks, y'all. Bye.
Bye.
If you want to keep up on things, you can hit us up on all social media.
All of them.
At
Creepy Tapas.
That's right. We're just Creepy Tapas.
All over the damn place.
Creepy Tapas is a free podcast, and we intend to keep it that way. But if you like what you hear and want to support us, please like, rate, and review. It helps us grow so we can keep serving our tiny tastes of terror to amazing listeners like you.
We would love to hear from you, so send us your personal stories to creepytapas@gmail.com. We are self-written and recorded with production by Freddy Cat Productions, music by Kevin MacLeod, and graphics by Panther Creek Graphics.
Darkcast Network. Indie pods with a dark side.